We've got the setback running backs. They'll probably set you back a week or two if you go with them. Who you got at number one?
Melvin Gordon. I think he's had his chance the last few years in the NFL. I know he played for the Chargers being a 1,000-yard rusher, but I feel like he lost some of that steam after he did leave that team. And with the Broncos taking Javonte Williams, who some people potentially said, this dude could be the best running back in the draft. He's young, he runs with his head down, and he is probably going to get a majority of the carries. So I would say stay away from Melvin Gordon because it kind of feels like a fool's gold pick again.
Okay, so my number one setback guy is going to be Jonathan Taylor.
I hate to hear that.
No quarterback equals 8 in the box every single week, and they're going to be playing from behind in pass-only mode. He's not going to get the carries, and there's going to be a stuff box when he does get the carries. It's not anything to do with his skill set. It's literally his team. Wouldn't pick him. Who you got it to?
Number 2, hate to say it, but Travis Etienne being the best running back in the draft. You look at James Robinson that's back there, undrafted free agent, and when he came in was a huge fantasy MVP, and I think they're going to continue to give him that same amount of carries, continue to feed him, because just imagine if he did become a surefire, walking in, imagine what he could be in the fantasy game. And Etienne, it was kind of a silly pick for the Jaguars there, and he could easily perform, but if he didn't, it would make absolute sense to me because of the presence of James Robinson, and that's really the only reason I have Etienne here on this list.
Okay, I got Alvin Kamara at number 2.
He did this shit on purpose.
No Michael Thomas, no Emmanuel Sanders, no Jared Cook, no quarterback. He's going to be overworked, 8 in the box. Everyone's like their whole game plan is going to be to stop him.
All 11 to 41.
He's not going to eat for that reason. It has nothing to do with the fact that he's not one of the best backs in the league. He's going to be the only player on their offense, and that's not going to fare well. Don't waste a fantasy pick on him. Well, you got at 3.
Number 3, Deandre Swift, another fool's gold pick here. The Lions' offensive line actually is good, 10th overall by Pro Football Focus, which really blew me away. But at the end of the day, when you look at the overwhelmingly horrible amount of talent on that offense with Deandre Swift, and check it out, Jared Goff only throws to his running backs the last 2 seasons in LA, 10.8% of the time. I don't think he's going to get any dual threat love. And the running is definitely going to be tough for him. I know he's got the good offensive line, but this is a team that's not going to produce a lot offensively. So be aware of DeAndre Swift.
I'm going to go with James Conner at number 3. Their schedule is littered with stout defenses.
With Arizona, right?
Yeah, with Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Kyler Murray is probably going to have more carries than him and will outrush him. It's just not going to work out. James Conner will be a bad pick, even though he's going to a situation that seemingly is good. Wouldn't touch him. Who you got it for?
Number 4, Josh Jacobs. And the reason I say this is because the entire offensive line and Rodney Hudson, Gabe Jackson, Trent Brown, they got let go. And 17 of his 19 career touchdowns while he's been in the NFL are when they are winning. So when they lose, he does not produce a lot. And let's just call it out here. The Raiders are going to lose a lot this year. I don't see a lot of production being there for Josh Jacobs, especially because that offensive line really is just kind of wiped off now. So do beware of Josh Jacobs in your leagues.
Funny, because at 4, I've got Kenyon Drake.
There we go, another Raider.
Simply because he just won't get the snaps. All the carries are going to go to Josh Jacobs. Kenyon Drake is just going to be hey, I need a play. When he taps the top of his head, Kenyon will come in. He's not getting carries. Don't pick him.
Yep.
Who you got at 5?
Number 5, A.J. Dillon. The workload and the production, I feel like, is going to be killed by Aaron Jones. And Aaron Jones is going to be a guy that you do pick in the tier above, like we were just talking about, but he could easily go in the 1 spot as well. And A.J. Dillon, he is a workhorse, and he could easily run between those tackles and be your bell cow back. Now, not in that category, but only 296 rushing yards in his rookie year. So that's not something you necessarily look for. You would expect at least 400 to 500. And Aaron Jones isn't a guy that's going to be a 13, 14, 1,500 yard rusher. So if he's already getting the carries taken away from him, imagine how it's going to play out when this season does come around. I would totally be aware of A.J. Dillon in your fantasy leagues.
My last guy is Myles Gaskin out of Miami.
Mm-hmm.
He's running behind Tua Tagovailoa. No defense is scared of him. They're going to bring people up to make sure they stop the run. They're going to dare Tua to beat him. And that's going to be a stat killer for Gaskin. It's not his fault. He's just not going to be able to produce he won't put up numbers. I mean, they're playing stout defenses within their division. Their schedule is not the easiest for this season. I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. Leave Myles Gaskin alone because of the quarterback that he's playing behind.